I'm in denial that it's August and that summer's passing so quickly, so I thought I would read from the July book, which is about the veil that separates gods from humans and life from death. And there's a story at the end about a human child that passes through to the ancient forest, and the gods don't know how to send her back, so they take her to the Valley of Lost Sneezes to consult the fireflies on how to send her home. And you will be distracted by the trucks passing along the BQE as I am. So we're in the middle of this story. There is a veil on every page that separates the worlds, and on this page there are some fireflies kind of woven into the veil. The rabbit gods, who belonged to the grasslands of the ancient forest, were born with an understanding of the firefly language that had brought us here. Rabbits and fireflies have, over the course of millennia, developed a form of interspecies communication in which the clapping, waving, and spinning of ear tips mimics the complex rhythms of the firefly's Morse code of flickering. In this way, the rabbits were able to ask, "How does your kind pass through the veil?" "What veil?" they say. "The veil that separates our kind from theirs." If you look closely, you'll see that everything is veil, and everything is not veil. The lacework contains all that exists, and it is light as emptiness. We watched as certain fireflies flickered out and vanished, knowing that they had transformed into sneezes on the other side of the veil. We had long understood that there were forms of safe passage between worlds besides movement between particles, that there were small transfigurations, ways of getting lost and then being found again. There were perhaps infinite modes of travel between planes of existence, some known, countless left to be discovered. Does the child belong in our world? No. Should we send her back? Not yet. What must we do first? End all loneliness. You mean her loneliness or everyone's? Healing one heals all. How do we help her? Helping isn't helpful. What should we do instead? Plant her like an onion in the garden where she can enjoy the company of quiet things. And then what? You'll see. More veil. We did our best to understand, but we lacked the wisdom of small luminous creatures, and in the end we could not fathom how to return the child to the other side. In our confusion and stuttering, the fireflies dispersed. We feared for this poor being trapped in our world. And so we hoisted up the mattress with the sleeping child once again and carried it westward into the garden of nameless fingers. There we found a spot for her among the peas and eggplants and tomatoes. We lifted her from the cozy bed and placed her in the soil among the plants, where she heaved an enormous sigh and released her weight into the earth. We stepped back into the tree line, watching like nervous parents from the other side of the schoolyard. When the sun rose, there were already places on the child's body that had rooted into the earth. She laughed when we sprinkled water from the watering can on her head, and when she shouted more, it was in the impossibly high-pitched language of green things. She spent a whole summer that way, roots deepening, leaves popping out of her pores. Often she whispered little secrets to a roly-poly that took up residence in her left nostril, and slept with pillowy caterpillars hugging her eyelids. We went back to the valley to consult the fireflies. How will we know when she's ready? The moon will ripen, and the part in her hair will smell like cantaloupe. Then we will come. Okay. On the night of the full moon, the child was wide awake, as she had been since converting entirely to photosynthesis. Her enormous black shirt was woven with vines, seed pods, mushroom caps, and the glittering jewels of beetle shells in every color. When the child spoke, her words were tinged with the unmistakable accent of tomatoes, the drawl of dahlias, and a hint of the shrill chatter of peas in their pods. While most of us did not understand what she said, the rabbits, with their superior powers of translation, heard something about the connective tissue joining all things, especially enemies, the joy of not just eating cantaloupe but becoming cantaloupe, the way that life is dirt and therefore delicious. We gathered round her and smelled the top of her head. It was sweet with the slightest hint of rot. She beamed with pride. A cloud of fireflies descended upon us, and some will say that they even hovered in the air for the briefest moment and spelled the word, "Ready?" Together we pulled the child out of the earth, and she popped loose with ease. We felt a sensation on her skin like a shifting breeze. Every firefly shone bright as day, and we realized that their luminous bodies were sucking in the particles that made up the veil. With each gasp, a particle of the veil disappeared to let a corresponding particle of the child pass through. Her body flickered, 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 and was gone. And on this page, you'll see that there is a silhouette of a disappearing child, and even harder to see, there's a little firefly flying off on this page.